possible.
Well, do you sell more CDs after you're performing?
Oh, yeah.
Than that you do off the shelf when they haven't seen you yet?
This, for some reason, the spoken word stuff really appeals to people. Like a lot of the radio stations, and the first, I could do, maybe if I'm going to do a tune, I'll do that tune. But the first single off the first record was a spoken word piece called Blood of the Wolf. And
you didn't do that tonight? I
didn't do it tonight, no. And they it was kind of my hit, and I did it always, and so I've sort of shied away from it as of late. But, and I'm hoping I can still remember it. But that's old, if the stuff that is melodic probably doesn't know, and I think that has to do with, there's a lot of people that do melodic stuff.
Like the song you did for your mom tonight. That was pretty melodic. And the last song you did too.
That gets, oddly enough, that gets played a lot because
that's a nice song.
Thank you very much.
It's a really, really good lyric.
Thanks.
Maybe you could do that one too.
Yeah. All right, I'll do this one quick. When he was 15 years old, already balding, thin basketball etched frame, continuously nervously banging against a box only he could see, my friend Frank robbed a Kentucky Fried Chicken with a fork. He courted the girl that worked there on her off time. Her girlfriends thought she was way off to go out with a boy that talked like an electric circuit. And they had it all worked out, except she must have got cold feet on the day of the robbery because she called in sick. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, in the 85-degree blue-collar melancholy sun, disguised in his brother's red and yellow striped wool ski mask and armed with a stainless steel fork and 15 years of Catholic Italian longings, Frank ran into the Kentucky Fried Chicken at the corner of Butternut and Lodi, and finding no one behind the counter, yelled to the two people sitting at the booth eating their original recipe breasts, "Everybody hit the deck!" And they looked up at him and they laughed. The manager sauntered too casually out from the back room, and Frank screamed again, this time slamming his fork down so hard on the counter that he cut his own hand. And the three people saw the blood and the unrelenting fierceness in the eyes behind the ski mask, and they knew he was serious. Through the dusty and street plate glass window, passerbys could easily have witnessed three people huddled on the ground and a masked Frank. Fork gripped in midair as he jammed down the register button, grabbed $214, and fled. First time he told me this story was 15 years later, on a blustery evening where it broke down in the sub-zero snow this side of the Canadian border. That lonely orange U-Haul, squeaking with every jet of northern icy wind, provided a refuge in its cab for 8 hours. Me and Frank in the front, sharing cigarettes and later end butts and flannel shirts that had been discarded in earlier months, summer days. Come on, you snakes, the sun had called. Shed those skins, to lie forgotten behind the seats, but now taken out. Used as blankets and stuffed into door cracks to guard against the razor chill. After a few hours, and the boredom peaked and the conversation snowballed and turned heated and sillier and confessional and redeeming, and Frank told me about his Italian grandmother, how she'd stare at his carved body, every inch of which was covered with the thick rug-like hair, and she'd shake her head Sicilian serious, and she'd moan in broken English, "Blood of the wolf! Blood of the wolf!" In that truck, Frank threw back his head and howled with laughter. Then he told me how he robbed a Kentucky Fried Chicken with a fork, and I screamed with laughter, "A fork! A fucking fork!" So hard I actually got warm for a few minutes. When they found us 8 blue bone cold chill hours later, I was half asleep, but Frank was still doing imitations of his boyhood hero, AC/DC's Bon Scott, yelling, "And they made it out! With a bullet in her back!" across the Canadian snow. That was 8 years ago. Frank drives for somebody else, and I moved to Texas. We couldn't make a go of our business in upstate New York, and the bank repossessed our truck. Last night when I was headed to the CD player, I thought I heard that truck outside beeping. I rode in that truck for half a decade. I'd know the sound of it, and Frank's loud, impatient black coffee and V8 juice horn blast, and I was ready to ride. But when I went to the window, there was no truck. And as my eyes scanned the Texas horizon, I thought I saw running behind the trees a boy. He was wearing a ski mask. He was holding a fork.
I just want to make a movie out of that.
No, it's a movie. It is very go back.
I'm telling you.
Back for.
Do you ever think of writing a book?
No,
and
my wife's a great writer, and no, see, I don't flatter myself. That's the thing, you do what you do. And
I mean,
because people
writing a book
study
with
and
those lyrics on each page,
maybe.
like each chapter.
She says maybe.
You know,
maybe.
It's great because you could see everything that he's talking about, and because you can hear everything that he's talking about when he's playing.
I try to articulate, enunciation is important. Demosthenes, put those stones in your mouth.
And his face just gets really big, and he puts on this while he's playing, and then he does it.
Becomes bigger than life, doesn't it?
He gets
Hire me.
so
Are
much
you out there
energy.
casting a movie? Hire me.
I'm
Would
telling
you?
It's just a matter of time.
Oh, good. Good.
It really, no, seriously, I'm not like, that's the Catholic version of Brown.
Oh, I see.
Your mom was Catholic,
My mom was Catholic.
and she still is,
She's, well, what, she was. She's deceased.
and that's a tribute to her when you wrote that song?
Yes.
Ah.
Hmm.
Bridge is open.
Is that a siren?
Yes, it is.
My ride's here. I gotta go. Listen, it's been great.
They're coming to take him to the funny farm. My life is beautiful all the time.
Who was it?
And I am happy
Who
to
was
see-
it?
I forgot.
Napoleon?
Solo?
Something, Bonaparte, the 16th or something. Napoleon.
Really? Is that
yeah.
who did that?
And then the flip side of the record was everything backwards, including the label.
I used to wait on. I used to have the transistor under my pillow when I was a young little
Yeah.
girl. And I used to
Your
wait for
older
that song.
sister had it.
That's right. That was my older sister, and
Right.
she had. And I used to wait for that song. And they're coming to
Really?
take me away, ha ha hee, oh, to the funny farm. My life is
I
beautiful
like
all the
the
time, and I'll be
one.
happy to see that I take my little king, but to take me
John.
away, ha ha.
Big Bad John. Remember
Oh
that song?
yeah.
Was it Lauren Green?
How about
Was it Tennessee?
It was.
Sure wasn't Lauren Green? No, Lauren Green was Ringo. Remember? Ringo. Yeah. He saved his life, and then later Ringo.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of the one that's the swamp.
You'll be editing this. This is the part you'll be editing out.
And you did. Now there's another song you did, Bad Rap, when you mentioned Miles Davis and Count Basie. Now
Life.
you. How did you? Were they there? Were you actually there? You're too young for that.
No, it was a dream. In the song, it's a dream. What it's prompted it was a Life magazine article. Elvis was on the cover, and then there was a thing about crack somewhere, maybe Chicago, but they were all black. And I was hanging around. I was working in a crack bar, and they were all white. I'm saying, boy, this is really, I know millions of people that smoke crack. None of them are black. What's the deal here? This is definitely somebody's getting a bad rap here. And then I thought, I wonder, if I ever met Miles Davis, if he would talk to me. And I thought, probably not. And this is the reason. This is one of the many reasons why. The other reason would probably be because I'm a chump.
No, I wonder if that was your commentary on.
It was media, the media, and the way the media, the people in the I don't want to generalize, but there are people in this country that are afraid. And the reason that they're afraid, it's like, when I moved, I live in Brooklyn. Beautiful where I live. I mean, they have little gardens, there's butterflies, there's elderly people walking up and down the street. No, I don't. I live in Carroll Gardens. And 3 or 4, very inexpensive, and it's very nice and clean and neat and blah, blah, blah. I tell my friends that I live in Brooklyn, and they think it's, urban warfare.
Right.
But,
some parts of Brooklyn.
Right. They know, but it's because the media has depicted it as such. That's because they don't know. They don't live here, and so that's the way they see it. The movies and the news, and so consequently they don't know. And it's nobody's. Well, I mean, it is somebody's fault. Although, as the television cameras aimed at me, I'm saying it's the TV's fault. No, I don't know. I'm saying that's what the song is about. A little bit, Be careful. I think what the song really is saying is just approach with a little skepticism and a little caution.
The media.
Just about everything.
Just about everything.
Just
true.
be careful. You're only seeing. There's shades of gray. I don't think there's that much black and white. That's all.
Yep. You gotta be so careful these days.
These aren't finger pointing songs. Or if they are finger pointing songs, there's enough jokes in the show where they won't bug you too much.
Great jokes. This is Videowave.
If I'm pointing fingers,
we are talking
more
to
often
Hamell on trial.
More often than not, I'm pointing fingers in myself just as much as anybody. So I don't want to come off like some self-righteous. So. In the name of love, one more in the name of God.
Well, he needs an agent. He's got to go to Hollywood eventually. Eventually.
With laughter. Then he told me how he robbed a Kentucky Fried Chicken with a fork, and I screamed with laughter. A fork? A fucking fork! So hard I actually got warm.